We've reached the final game of the Loop region, and we're going up against the Chicago Bulls. So, obviously I had to go with MJ. That was a given. And, although I didn't really know how to fill out the squad, to be honest. Let's start with who Chicago has. They've got Elton Brand, Ron Artest, and Ron Mercer. So that seems fair enough. Ron Artest and Elton Brand were drafted in the same year, 99. Ron Artest obviously was drafted with the 16th pick, way down in the draft. And Knicks fans will remember that because they drafted Frederick Weiss just ahead of him. Now, Frederick Weiss was the guy that Vince Carter dunked on in the Olympics, or dunked over. He actually leapfrogged over him. Maybe the greatest dunk of all time. And he never played a minute in the NBA, whereas Ron Artest was... Look, quite honestly, Ron Artest is probably a Hall of Famer. He's won a championship, Defensive Player of the Year. He's been on the All-Star team. One of the better and more complete defensive players you'll ever see in the history of the league. And that's why I've gone with Paul Pierce in this game, because of the rivalry during their career. Now, that started when Ron Artest was on the Pacers, but it continued when Ron Artest, or Meta World Peace at that point, ended up on the Lakers and they played in the finals. So obviously Jordan and Pierce and Garnett. Now Garnett's actually from Chicago, and that's, it's kind of, it doesn't really make there's not a whole lot of a connection there, but that's the only one I could come up with. So, and it fits because you've got Elton Brand, who's a power player. Kevin Garnett, I only just picked him up not too long ago, so I wanted to play with him. And of course you got MJ. So MJ just completely swipes the ball away from Ron Mercer. Remember, there's a little bit of a history between those two players individually. Ron Mercer was the guy that Jordan pinned the shot to the backboard when he was on the Wizards. And one of his very best blocks of his career happened when he was 39 years of age. So there's a little bit of a history there, but this is going to be a blowout, so just sit back and enjoy it as Pierce works on Artest. That's a good matchup, actually. I should have really used that more, but this is Jordan's game. Remember, these guys, Jordan did not leave on the best of terms with Chicago. It was patched up quite a bit, but he didn't want that team to break up, and money talks, I guess. There's Ron Artest shooting the ball in the bottom of the backboard. Once again, I remember talking about that last game. That's happening a little bit too often for my liking. There's Pierce for a beautiful move in the open court. He's able to go up for the dunk. I could have dished that off, but I knew how close I was to the game break. I didn't want to initiate it with them having the ball. Instead, I'm able to just swipe it cleanly, and I would have gone for the dunk, but for the game breaker, which is now being initiated. But if you look at it, I'm so close to actually putting them to a 0, and that's something that I've never done before. I haven't developed a 9-0 lead in the game of NBA Street, so this is going from a blowout to a monumental mismatch. And Elton Brand puts up the J, and he gets swatted by KG. I don't know what happened there. The passing was right there. It wasn't. In my opinion, it was right on the money, and it just, for whatever reason, was thrown behind KG as he went up for the alley-oop. There's Ron Mercer faking in a 3, and they're on the board finally. I should have had a 10-0 lead, but that's all. That's done with. Can't do anything about it now. I could always get another game breaker and revert them back to 0, but the game's over. Spoiler alert. But they're getting a lot of offensive boards. Here's Mercer in the post, dishing it out. Brand's looking to get inside, but Garnett's able to recover well. Ron Artest trying to break down Pierce, not going anywhere. Jacks up a 3. And they get another board, another one. So they've had a long possession here. They're dancing with the ball now, looking for Mercer in the post. He doesn't want anything to do with Jordan. Brand will take it baseline and throw it down on the top of Jordan. It's 9-3. I'm able to get the ball back, and Jordan is working on Mercer, crosses him up. That's what I like to see. Goes up for a dunk, dishes it off, and I could have passed that back off to Pierce for a double alley-oop, but instead I just have to deal with that combination, which was still good for 23,000. It would have been interesting what that would have fetched me, because that's been, as far as I'm aware, that's been the highest combination that I've got, and I've got it quite a few times, 23,000. But it would have been interesting to see what I would have got if I had actually passed it back off in the middle of that alley-oop. Long range shot by, I don't know who, I'm assuming it was Artest. Rattles in, it's 10-5. Pierce taking it with a left-hand floater, he's able to miss it. So maybe this game isn't over, as I predicted earlier. There's Pierce wisely passing out of that bad shot attempt, and there's Garnett wisely deciding not to go past that hook up for that alley-oop, as probably would have been way too late. Jordan getting blocked. It's 10-6, and it's only a 4-point game, 4-point lead, and their game breaker isn't that far off, so this game could become competitive. Jordan, he's getting blocked again, so my offense has completely died. Artest going up for the dunk. It's 10-7 now. What a comeback by them. They're on a 7-1 run right here. And steal by Artest on Paul Pierce, getting a little bit too fancy with the basketball. And there's Brand dishing it off to Mercer, who tries to dunk on Garnett and gets dealt with as Jordan goes back up and he dunks, and that's my first bucket in quite a long time. So here's the ball coming back down. Elton Brand, he's probably got the best handles on the team, to be honest with you. There's Jordan and Garnett closing out on that Mercer 3 as forces a miss, and Pierce is able to get the rebound. Jordan comes back down and hits a, I guess, foul line floater, free throw line extended floater, we'll call it that one. Good block by Garnett coming from behind on Elton Brand. It's 12-7. He's going to dish it. Beautiful cut by Garnett and a great find by Jordan. Look at that. That's what I like to see. And for a game that is as over as the top as it is as NBA Street, it's good to see some fundamentals getting rewarded. That got me excited. But yeah, so there's their game breaker is up now. Mercer tried getting into the lane. He got knocked to the ground, but it was cleaned up by Brand. I've got Jordan now dribbling the basketball. It's 13-8. Trying to draw in Elton Brand. If I can get him, that'll be sweet. Instead, I'll get Artest on me. Now I just got to force up a 3. It's blocked. It's a shot clock violation. Trying to wear down some clock. Unable to do it so far. They're going to go up for a dunk with Brand. And realistically, they're not that far off this. It's a 3-point lead. You know, you guys have seen me come back from much bigger deficits than that. They don't really have the offensive firepower, but they sure as hell have the defensive firepower to lock me down. As you've seen since, I had that 9-0 lead, they've really put the clamps on. Jordan for 3, misses it. Don't know why. It felt like a good release. And he was wide open, but that's just the way it happens, I guess. Elton Brand now being guarded by Jordan. Pierce is up top on Artest. And Mercer is able to exploit Garnett along the baseline. It's 12-10. It's only a 2-point game. Wow. Pierce all the way to the bucket, dunks it. So I need to be aware of getting some game breakers or trick points so I can get a game breaker if need be. Mercer, nice move. Completely breaks Paul Pierce's ankles and then finishes over the top of Garnett. Jordan now up against Mercer. I've got to be aware of quick hands out of the Bulls, even with it's Mercer. Jordan pulls up from 20, splash, 14-11 now. That was a nice move. The animation wouldn't let me stop in time. I wanted to shoot the 3, but the basic 2-pointer is good. And now Brand inside, able to break Garnett off. And I tried to come over and help, but there wasn't a whole lot I could have done. Brand was already up in the air. Here's Pierce up against... I think it was Artest. Now the switch is now with Jordan on him. He completely breaks off Artest. Back to Jordan. Puts up a contested 3. Banks in 16-12. And that was a long possession, really. The shot clock is winding down as well. So 16-12, and I'm re-established some order in the world. After getting rid of that, losing that big lead. Artest puts up a bad shot. Garnett's able to clean the board. Looking for Jordan, finding Jordan. Jordan's missing a 3-footer. He had 2 guys on him though. I guess that's somewhat acceptable. Now I'm sort of just protecting the rim now. I'm daring them to shoot jumpers. That's sort of working for me now. Jordan, bring the ball up court. If I can get a bucket here, as well as some trick points, the game will pretty much be over. Jordan all the way to the bucket. Nice move. He was just taking it all by himself. Then he wasn't giving that up. And dunks on two Chicago Bulls players. 17-12. Really not that far off a game break as well. Nice alley-oop by the Bulls. 17-13. Pierce all the way to the bucket. Flushes it down. 18-13. 5-point lead still. This game is really over, but it was much more competitive than what it was looking at one stage. And here's Mercer bringing the ball up the court. Dishing it to the corner. Artest doesn't want anything to do with that. Jordan gets crossed up by Mercer. How many times who would have ever thought you'd hear that? Artest having to shoot it from half court, really, as the shot clock is running down. Garnett getting a bucket. Is now 19-13. And yeah, as I said before, this game is over. There's no real way they can come back from this. Game breaker is now mine. I was tempted to... this is disappointing. I wanted to get a dunk. Instead, poor Pierce wide open shoots a 4-footer. Rattles in 20-12. I was tempted at that point to just not do a game breaker and just score and just let them come back and score and then finish off with a game breaking busted rim. That's alright though. 20-13. This game should be over right now, right? Here's Jordan going to the bucket, getting swatted, gets the ball back. It has to be Jordan finishing this. Puts it back up, gets swatted again. Unbelievable. They come back down. They can get their game breaker. Wow. Jordan coming back down again. I'm just trying to finish it. Come on. Lobbing it up. Ball is blocked again. My God. And now it's Mercer coming back around. This Bulls team does not quit. So now I've got Brand. I just wanted to finish it. Come on, finish this sucker, please. Get it up to Pierce. Pierce now. Pierce gets it stolen. And then they've got a game breaker. And they're going to pull up from 3. My God, I was angry at this point. Like, how many opportunities is going on here? It's now 18-17. This is a close game. That's happened. And I haven't lost in a while. I don't want to lose to the Bulls, not with MJ. So it's now 19-17, and there's no real trick points here. So there's no chance of there's no real advantage. But for whatever reason, Mercer decides to go for the super spectacular play. Misses it. Now I'm able to get dunks. Okay, makes sense, right? No, not really. 20-17 now. Up by 3. They're going to lob it up to Brand. 20-18. So I'm going to have probably 2 opportunities to really finish this. And Garnett gives it off to Pierce. Pierce crosses it up. Dishes it to Garnett. Garnett gets nothing going. Jordan all the way. Nowhere. Nothing. Garnett will just do a windmill left-handed dunk, and somehow I'm able to come up with the win after everything that just happened. That was a textbook way to not play this game, but I was able to get the victory.
Oh my! Now